talking to the fan base after the game, they brought up more so than any other position unit, and therefore they were pretty much on the beat of what is being discussed by the coaching staff, and that would be the wide receiver play.
Yeah, it's been bad. And we talked about it at the Clemson game of, Miami not having won any of those 50-50 balls. If you look back at the, recent past, outside of Amon Richards, a couple of catches by Lawrence Cager, a couple catches by Darrell Langham, over the past 5 or more years, there's not been a time where Miami is going up and winning contested catches at any real part of the field. It could be short, intermediate, or deep. It's just not happening. And that's been a major issue with the receiving group. And, these teams, the opposition is going to force us best as they can to throw the ball. And a part of the throwing mechanic, is wide receivers winning their routes and wide receivers winning matchups down the field. And that just hasn't happened. So when the depth chart was released today at the beginning of practice for this week, all of the receiver spots were listed as open. So there were no starters. Every position was, Cam or Mark or Dante. And the next one was, Jason or they were all ors. So it's interesting to see how they're lined up. It was like D. Wiggins, Michael Redding, or Keyshawn Smith at one receiver. It was Mike Harley, Marshall Few, or Xavier Restrepo at another receiver. Then it was Mark Pope. I forget who else was over there. But it was interesting to see how they were grouped as well, because I would like to see us spread those guys out. I don't think it should be an either-or scenario with starting or playing Redding or Smith. I think they should both play. And if we're running, 3 and 4 wide, there are the positions and snaps available to be able to do that. But, it really is, it's come to the point where, we need to find some answers. And I guest hosted my guy Marshall from State of the U, his podcast, Fours Up, and one of our other favorite Canes fan friends, Jay, came on, and Jay made a great point after the game. And he said, we're counting guys as answers who are questions, and just because of what was done in high school or whatever, people basically assumed Mark Pope is an answer at wide receiver. What has he proven to show that he's an answer at this level? Nothing. But you have guys who start to show that they're answers at this level, but you treat them as if they're the question, and you're going to these presumptive answers that are not actually answers. And that's part of the problem, especially at wide receiver. And I get, it's going to be a fine balance. I'm very skeptical, because I think that, the coaches have set themselves up in a position where they could easily say on Saturday, oh, well, the normal starters were the best group in practice, so they're the ones who are going to start. Are you really, but I think that you can artificially create that situation and scenario. Are you giving equal snaps? Are you creating the same situations and scenarios for everyone to potentially be successful? And with all due respect, guys who are older should perform better in practice, given that they're older and they have the wisdom of age. You know what I mean? But at some point, these guys, you got to trust what people do. You know what I mean? And at some point, these guys have proven themselves to be average at best on Saturdays or Thursdays or Fridays or whichever day we play. So we have to then look for other answers. And look, somebody tweeted it, and I quote tweeted it, it was Richard. He was like, oh, yeah, we've seen what these guys do on Saturdays for so long, but you want to talk about, oh, we'll see during practice, and are hesitant to bring in the freshmen. We've done it before. You know what I mean? Duke Johnson, we did it. Tracy Howard, we did it. Brad Kaya, all 3 linebackers when they were freshmen. You know what I mean? Brevin Jordan. There's been plenty of times when freshmen, Amon Richards. How do you think that you get freshman records? Duke Johnson, Amon Richards. You get freshman records by playing as a freshman. You know what I mean? And there's been plenty of times where Miami has put the freshmen on the roster in positions to be successful, given them the things to do that they're good at, and let them go and let them show and prove when there is not a player or players in front of them who have demonstrated that level of success. That is happening at lots of positions. It's not happening at linebacker right now. It's not happening at wide receiver. And this is a step towards that. But I, for one, am hesitant, and I want to see what actually is the outcome on Saturday. Because, like I said, it is easy to construct the scenario through practice where you continue to start who you've already have been starting this year. I want to see what actually happens from it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the wide receiver stats here.
They're bad.
And I'm seeing, of course, the one really good play that Mike Harley made to start out the second half, the 38-yarder for the touchdown. He caught 2 for 47. Mark Pope, 5 for 46. So not a lot of explosive plays there. His long was 16. And then the Keyshawn Smith play, 16 yards on the one catch.
And I mean, even if you go back to Clemson, like it's similar things. You didn't throw for much, but you hit Keyshawn Smith on a trick play for 42, and I mean, like, I give complete credit to Rhett Lashley for that Mike Harley touchdown. That was amazing. You go to a bunch set to the tight side, and then you run a little kind of wheel concept with a streak and a post. So you're taking these defenders and you're making them switch and all kinds of different things, which is hard when you're playing man-to-man all the time. And somebody didn't switch. Somebody carried their receiver and the other person switched. And then all of a sudden Mike Harley's wide open and everything. And he made a great play. Like, I'm not going to say that wasn't a great play, but I think that was more on play design than it was on individual, like, effort. You know what I mean? Like, he was butt naked wide open, doing backflips and cartwheels, but yeah, it's been an issue for Miami, the wide receiver play, and it needs to improve. Maybe you can say, all right, what if Brian Hightower would not have transferred? What if Jeff Thomas would not have left early? What if, Amon Richards had been healthy for the last couple of years? It wouldn't help now because he'd already been in the NFL, but you know what I mean? But it has to, these guys have shown and proven that we brought them to Miami because of the kind of plays that they made game after game, day after day on the field. And yes, okay, it was in high school, but that's going to be what we're going to use to be predictive and then hopefully use their potential to move forward. So guys like Michael Redding, III, made all kinds of highlight plays at IMG Academy, at every game, and camp and all-American game scenario possible. He's done it with the lights on. Keyshawn Smith was on ESPN SportsCenter for highlight reel catches, plural, that he made in high school. Bro, we've seen them do it. So why are we not being able to find the scenario here in which to be able to do that? And Hurricane Logan, yeah, it was a good conversation. I appreciate that.